As the ice caps melt, due to global warming, the virus that was frozen for almost 50 million years returned to contaminate humanity. They called it the zombie virus.
French researchers have already identified at least 13 types of viruses in the polar regions that can return to life. Here in Brazil, scientists also have investigated the impact of this phenomenon.
The Earth's poles are losing their white colour. The explanation comes from an alert from the scientists. The Arctic and Antarctica are getting warmer, 2 times faster than the rest of the planet. The consequences are shown in the transformation in this image.
On this side, we see water, probably the snow melting from the top. We can see it there. But it melts and forms a little river.
Or the presence of intruders, not common in these freezing environments.
I never expected to find mosquitoes here.
In the first Brazilian scientific expedition to the Arctic Polo, the researchers witnessed for 2 weeks the worrying effects of global warming in the biggest sea ice of the world. The attentive eyes of the scientists weren't only in the beauty of what they could see, and yes, in the mysteries that the ice hides. Underneath the ice caps, unknown lives start to wake up. Whenever they went, a Brazilian group brought samples of microorganisms that had woken up or were still to wake up.
We are here at a collection point in Longyearbyen, close to Longyearbyen. We found this lake. This lake here will be a target for future studies of the present microorganisms.
The samples collected by the Arctic scientists are now being analysed in a laboratory. The intention is to find answers to the questions about life on the ice. For example, how many species of fungi and bacteria are hidden underneath the polar layers? And with the ice caps, what would be the consequences to humanity, animals, and agriculture? Until the end of this year, the researchers expected to conclude this study. This Federal University professor of Minas Gerais, who was in this mission, explained why microorganisms that are apparently dead can resurface and the risk of this phenomenon.
Organisms that are frozen in the region, imprisoned and frozen, when melting, they get released, so we can get agricultural pests. Organisms that can cause diseases in animals and human beings. We will get some microorganisms that will produce methane, that when they become active, they will produce a lot of methane. They will release that methane in the atmosphere very intensively, so it will intensify the increase of the climate changes.
The research considers the worrying possibility of a rebirth of what is apparently dead.
Very worrying. We have to be careful. Get to know so that if it comes back, to know how to fight it.
6 months ago, French scientists found in Siberia the skin and stomach of a mammoth, an extinct animal, a virus that was frozen almost 48,000 years. It's the most conducive place to conserve the organic matter that kills the microbes that live underneath the ground. The permafrost doesn't have light, doesn't have oxygen, and obviously it is cold. So if you put, for example, yogurt and come back 40 million years after, it will still be good to consume, explained by the French researcher. Defrosted in the laboratory, the virus infected an amoeba, and it was called zombie virus because it returned to life after being apparently dead. We are aware of the risks, because when we analyze the complete DNA, we see that the virus is able to infect humans and animals. So, we have to install a security system, a type of sanitary door in the Arctic, so that we don't have new diseases that can be deadly, says a scientist.
Os cientistas torcem para que os estudos forcem.
The scientists hope that the studies force the government to adopt public measures to be able to save the Arctic polo.
The Arctic and Antarctica represent the refrigerator of the planet by sea. They will immediately control the temperature of the planet. If this emission of pollution continues, the tendency is to melt, an inevitable way.